Gray, still a small but proud descendant of the canine clan, tries to hunt a mysterious guest in the Shadow Dungeon, only to end up caught by Isil. Esil, recognizing Gray as the last hope of the Fong monarch's lineage, jokes about eating him, but ultimately reflects on how both she and the wolf pup are rare, pure-blooded survivors of their respective clans, now gathered together under Suho. This makes her wonder about Suho's purpose in collecting them. Their musings are interrupted as Suho and Beru arrive, carrying 2 whole pigs as a meal. The moment turns chaotic as Isil and Gray squabble over the food, while Beru devours his share with gusto. Suho muses about how he attracts carnivores and proceeds with his daily quest in the dungeon, easily dispatching goblins now that his strength has grown. He receives rewards for his efforts, including a ring that boosts his senses and saves a status recovery for emergencies. Amid the aftermath of the meal, Essel notes with concern the presence of dimensional refugees, goblins, and other creatures that have started appearing after the War of the Outer Gods. She explains that it should be almost impossible for such weak monsters to break through dimensional barriers into the Shadow Monarch's world unless the barriers have been badly damaged. Rakan's sword chimes in, agreeing that something must have twisted the dimensional rift to allow even defeated soldiers to enter. Suho realizes that the blue mist from outer space is weakening the dimensional walls, allowing these refugees in, and that the outer gods are likely sending them as vanguards since they cannot come themselves. The group deduces that if they do not act quickly, more and more dangerous beings will pour in, threatening Earth and potentially exposing Suho, the Shadow Monarch's son, as a target. Suho resolves to clear the dungeon of these invaders and find the dimensional gaps to seal them, knowing that his existence is now a critical weakness and he must become even stronger to protect his world. The threat of Suho's existence being discovered by the outer gods looms as he knows he must strengthen himself to avoid becoming his father's weakness. After completing his daily quest in the Shadow Dungeon, Suho, accompanied by Isil and Gray, continues to hunt goblins for both experience and sustenance. Gray's keen hunter's senses and Essel's ferocious demon nobility make quick work of their prey, though Essel finds the taste of goblin mana unsatisfying. Once the area is cleared of goblins, Suho establishes a base camp to await the respawn of monsters, sending his shadow goblins to scout the surroundings. Deciding that stronger challenges are necessary for growth, Suho considers other dungeons, ultimately choosing to head for Magok, a dangerous field dungeon infamous for its dense blue mist and plant-type monsters. The area, once called Magok for its hemp production, is now a no man's land after a catastrophic dungeon break a year ago. Unlike other dungeons, Magok isn't cordoned off, as its monsters cannot survive outside the blue mist, offering some protection to the rest of the city. Upon arriving, Beru notes the ominous energy and lack of standard defenses. Suo explains that plant monsters are contained by their environment and that Magok is an unpopular hunting ground for most due to its lack of profitable drops and the presence of elusive ghost monsters. However, Suho values the experience more than material gain. As Suho enters Magok Field, Rakan's sword alerts him to the presence of a sanctuary concealed by the mist and forest, raising the prospect of a powerful artifact or boss monster hidden within. Trusting the sword's guidance, Suho ventures deeper, determined to find the sanctuary. Elsewhere in the jungle, the Beiko Guild, led by Vice President Bake Miho, searches for purpose as they follow her instincts. Miho is troubled by a mysterious voice urging her to prove her qualifications, especially to become the king. Her beast transformation skill begins to manifest, her eyes shining with animalistic power, unsettling her team. As the voice grows more insistent and the pressure mounts, Miho readies herself and her hunters for battle, sensing that a trial awaits in the heart of Magok. In the agitated forest, Suho senses something strange, hearing a proclamation demanding proof of qualification to be king. Rakan's sword explains that another holy relic, forged from Rakan's other fang, has initiated the king's trial in the sanctuary, a test to select the new king of beasts now that Rakan is gone. Suho learns that only those willing to become beasts can truly become the Fang monarch, and that the voice calling for candidates is not directed at him, but at all worthy beastkin present. As Suho observes from above, he sees hunters throughout the forest using their beast transformation skills, each fighting fiercely to prove themselves. Trial isn't limited to combat. The forest itself attack, with tree trunks lashing out like whips and plant monsters converging on those inside. Suho narrowly avoids these attacks, cutting down monsters as he heads toward the location of the other sacred relic, determined to find and confront the examiner behind this ordeal. The forest becomes increasingly perilous, shrouded in blue mist, haunted both by plant monsters and the ghosts of those killed when catastrophe struck the old city here. Hunters, their senses heightened by beast skills, are assaulted by the banshees' wails and the forest's deadly trap. As they realize the test is about more than physical strength, it targets their instincts. They begin relying on their sense of smell to track the source of the trial, each desperate to claim the throne. Meanwhile, Baek Miho, leading the Baiko Guild, becomes wary of the trial's manipulation. Sensing that they're being ensnared by primal urges, she orders her guild to withdraw and observe from a higher vantage point. On their retreat, they encounter werewolves from the Hyena Guild, known for their ruthlessness and deep understanding of the king's trial. The hyena remnants attack, intent on eliminating their rivals to secure the throne for themselves. Baek Miho, her transformation unleashing her true strength, tears through the attackers, realizing that the trial is a brutal battle royale, delighting in carnage and survival of the fittest. Everywhere in the forest, the test pushes hunters to their limits, forcing them into a deadly competition. Baek Miho, disgusted by the forced violence, notices a lone figure, Suho, calmly walking with two swords. She is puzzled by his solitude, suspecting he may have betrayed his team, yet there is no scent of blood on him. Even as she fights, her attention lingers on the enigmatic Suho, who disappears from view as the chaos of the trial continues around them. Suho pressed through the jungle, steadily dispatching the ghosts and specters that attacked him. Despite his rapid, efficient slaughter of these enemies with his skills and twin swords, he noticed his progress seemed halted. No matter how many ghosts he defeated, his level did not increase. Realizing something was off, Suho searched for a greater source of power. His heightened senses led him to a strange, haunted tree, the Wraith Tree, which continuously spawned new ghosts from its twisted branches. With insight from Rakan's sword and Baru, Suho understood this tree was the main body sustaining the ghost infestation. He launched a direct attack, but the tree's defenses were formidable. As he fought, dungeon jackals, more powerful than usual, appeared to guard the tree. However, Suho's presence as wolf slayer and his overwhelming energy turned the jackals to his side as shadow minions, who then protected him from other threats while he focused on the tree. After a fierce assault, Suho finally felled the Wraith Tree. Instantly, the surrounding ghosts vanished, and he gained a level at once, confirming the tree's central role. Climbing for a better view, Suho realized there were more such trees scattered throughout the jungle, each likely anchoring the ghostly presence. He ordered his new jackal minions to lead the way toward the next target. Elsewhere, Baek Miho finished handling the Hyena Guild members and interrogated a survivor, learning that the chaos stemmed from a competition for the vacant throne of the Beast King. Any hunter with beast powers was drawn to the jungle by hallucinations, each believing themselves a worthy candidate. Baek Miho remained skeptical of the monster's motives for involving humans in their king's trial, suspecting something more sinister at play. As she struggled with the persistent, intrusive voice pushing her to prove her worth as king, strange changes swept the forest. The ghost diminished suddenly, the repeated hallucinated voice became confused and annoyed, and then, for a moment, all went quiet. The voice, usually commanding, now seemed desperate, complaining that only one tree remained. All the hunters in the forest sensed the shift, realizing something fundamental had changed in the trial. Yet, the challenge was not over, and the true nature of the king's trial and whoever orchestrated it remained a mystery as Suho pressed on to destroy the final Wraith Tree. The holy relic, baffled and desperate, watched as Suho rampaged through the king's trial, tearing down the last of the Wraith Trees that protected the sanctuary. Despite the relic's frantic pleas, Suho pressed on, well aware that the king's trial was a sham, merely a scheme for the relic to possess a powerful body. He confronted the relic directly, exposing its true intentions, and with the destruction of the final Wraith Tree, all the ghosts haunting Magok Field vanished, and Suho finally leveled up. An ominous silence blanketed the forest, soon shattered by tremors and howls that sent panic through the hunters. Rakan's sword dismissed the other holy relic's power, declaring it had finally found someone worthy of being king. As Suho mounted a shadow jackal, they raced through the increasingly treacherous forest, where mutated bloodthirsty plants, products of the gate opening in Seoul's vast botanical garden, turned the area into a grotesque jungle of monsters. At the heart of this chaos, where the botanical garden once stood, loomed a monstrous nest. Thousands of plant species merged into a colossal writhing tree, the sanctuary of the rival relic. When Suho arrived, the garden's vine-wrapped entrance opened for him. Ignoring warnings of a trap, Suho strode into darkness, donning his krill mask to pierce the gloom. There, the entire space was cocooned in thick white spiderwebs. Grave spiders lurked everywhere, and unlucky beast hunters caught in the webs begged for their lives. At the far end, a monstrous spider, grave spider Arachne, waited, infused with the Holy Spirit's power. Determined, Suho plunged toward the hulking Arachne as his shadow jackals tore through the swarms of lesser spiders. Ignoring the flood of messages from each kill, Suho pressed on, his focus locked on the giant monster. The Arachne lashed out with webs and crushing pincers, its attacks relentless and brutal, but Suho's enhanced senses and nimble footwork let him dodge each blow, closing the distance. He hammered at the spider with both Rakan's sword and Vulcan's horn, each strike chipping away at its defenses. As the monster shrieked in fury, the voice of the holy relic echoed from inside its body, vowing Suho would be its prey. But Suho only grinned, seeing the Arachne as his next shadow soldier. With another surge of skill and a storm of blades, he pressed the attack, ready to bring down the beast and claim his pride. The relentless battle against Arachne reaches its climax as Suho's sword, Rakan's fang, repeatedly unleashes devastating critical strikes. The monster's resistance crumbles, and Suho seizes the moment, leaping onto its back and targeting the vulnerable joints between its shells. As green blood spurts and Arachne writhes in pain, it desperately retaliates with its puppet show skill, forcing entrapped hunters to attack Suho against their will. Suho evades, but the situation grows tense until Baru intervenes, shredding the webs and freeing the hunters, who collapse to the ground, dazed but alive. With the threat of puppeteered hunters neutralized, Suho focuses all his might on Arachne. Channeling the strength he's honed, he tears away the monster's protective shell with sheer force, his muscles bulging and sweat pouring down. When his stamina falters, he claims the reward from his daily quest to restore his condition, then calls upon the ruler's power, merging it with his arm for an overwhelming surge of strength. The final shell peels away, revealing Arachne's vulnerable flesh, and Suho smashes through it, learning a new skill, strike, in the process. The grave spider Arachne is defeated, and Suho's power surges as he levels up twice. Suho retrieves the holy relic embedded within Arachne, acquiring another Rakan sword. As he grips the blade, its malicious will tries to possess him, but his shadow rises up, swallowing the hostile energy and suppressing the relic. The two fangs of Rakan resonate, activating the sanctuary of beasts and unlocking a mysterious new passive skill. At that moment, time halts, and Suho finds himself in a blank void, separated from his companions and stripped of his weapons. There, at the edge of the horizon, he encounters a towering, wild man, Rakan, the Fang Monarch, whose true form as a colossal white wolf emanates a kingly, predatory aura. Rakan greets Suho as the descendant of the Shadow Monarch, amused and intrigued by this unlikely inheritor. He explains that Suho has summoned him from eternal rest via the unknown skill, making Suho the sole spectacle in his otherwise empty dream. Rakan reveals that, from now on, he will observe Suho's life whenever Suho wields his power or is accompanied by his descendant. Although Suho is wary of being watched, Rakan assures him the connection is limited to those moments. As a parting gesture, Rakan bestows a blessing, Rakan's protection, on Suho, wrapping him in a mysterious light before the vision ends. Suho receives a blessing from the Fang Monarch, Rakan, and is named the Pontifex of the Beast Clan, with the ability to channel the spirits of beasts, starting with his pet, Grey. Rakan, now at rest, entrusts Suho to care for Grey and gives him a merged sword forged from his two fangs, which now carries powerful effect. As Rakan's realm fades away, Suho returns to reality, standing atop Arachne's corpse, clutching the transformed Rakan's fang. The other hunters, freed from the spiderwebs, are left in awe and fear, convinced that Suho has gained the power of a king. Shadow jackals, loyal to him, present mana stones as trophies and eagerly await praise. With little concern for the others, Suho simply acknowledges their efforts and leaves the scene. The hunters, dazed and relieved to be alive, speculate about Suho's identity. especially since he wore a mask in the darkness, and wonder at his connection to the Shadow Jackal, unsure whether he is a summoner or something else. They notice that all traces of the spiders have vanished, leaving them with nothing to claim. Meanwhile, outside the botanical garden, other hunters sense that the king's trial is over and someone else has claimed the crown, leading to widespread disappointment and envy. Bayako Guild's vice president, Baek Miho, uses her keen senses to try to identify the new king, tracking Suho by scent, but ultimately deciding to wait and observe further, unsure of what she senses from him. Suho, now home and relaxing, discovers that his actions have made him an internet sensation under the nickname Beast King Crow, thanks to rumors and misunderstandings about his masked appearance. Embarrassed by the attention and the ridiculous monikers, Suho is left to deal with his newfound fame, while Rakan, somewhere beyond, laughs at the appropriateness of Suho's new title. While the world buzzes with news about the mysterious crow who emerged from Magak Field with the power of the Beast King, Li Minshang, the cunning vice president of the Reaper Guild, pieces together what really happened. Furious at the loss of the Hyena Guild, he realizes they sought the Beast King's power to escape his control, but only found death at the hands of Crow, whom he is certain is a demon in disguise, given the symbolic crow mask and the trail of blood. He deduces from the hyena's origins as werewolves that the demon must have consumed their blood to seize the king's power. Determined to capitalize on this, Li Minsong instructs his secretary to search Magok Field and prepare to make a Stardust deal with Crow, convinced meat will be the key to negotiation. Despite his secretary's admiration, Minsong grows increasingly frustrated by incompetence, especially in failing to recruit a particular stubborn doctor. Meanwhile, Suho returns to the Shadow Dungeon with a bounty of chicken, only to find Essel and Gray eager for a share. After a brief moral struggle and some commentary from the Fang Monarch, Suho relents and lets Gray have some chicken, despite Gray's pride as a hunter. Satisfied, Suho takes a moment to review his improved stats and new skills, especially the powerful strike technique he acquired after defeating Arachne. Realizing that he's outgrown the goblins of the Shadow Dungeon, Suho resolves to seek out stronger opponents in real dungeons to continue leveling up. Remembering a suggestion from an association hunter about a possible rating error, he decides it's time to visit the association for a remeasurement, setting his sights on greater challenges ahead. Throughout the night, Min Byung-gu is haunted by a recurring nightmare of being chased and devoured by giant ants, a terror that has plagued him for decades. Awaking in a cold sweat, he tries to shake off the dread as he prepares for his day, determined not to disturb his wife, a history teacher, with his troubles. He heads to work at the Korea Hunter Association, where he serves as a consulting doctor responsible for mana remeasurements and doping tests for hunters. Meanwhile, Suho arrives at the association hospital for his own mana remeasurement. After passing the newly developed Stardust doping test, a test made possible due to information Suho himself had exposed about the drug's origins, he calmly submits to the mana measurement, his composed demeanor drawing curiosity from Min Byung-gu. Unlike most hunters, who are either nervous or ambitious about the result, Suho remains unbothered. When Min Byung-gu asks Suho to demonstrate his skills for the hunter data records, Suho uses his summoning ability to call forth Beru. The moment Beru appears, Min Byung-gu recognizes him and collapses in terror. It is revealed that, in a previous world before the Great Reset, Min Byung-gu had been an S-class healer who fought and ultimately sacrificed himself during the catastrophic Jeju Island ant invasion, where he was devoured by Beru, the Ant King. Though Min Byung-gu no longer remembers those events, Beru does, carrying memories and even traces of humanity he absorbed from Min Byung-gu. Beru reflects that the compassion and ideals he gained from Min Byung-shape, who he is now, even after the world changed. Feeling a deep, almost filial bond with Min Byung-gu, Beru silently decides to ease his suffering. He plants a seed of power into Min Byung-gu, taking away the nightmares that have haunted him for years as a final gesture of gratitude and support, vowing to watch over him in this new life. As Min Byung-gu awakens, hospital staff panic, suspecting Suho of wrongdoing. Yet, in a miraculous turn, a surge of white mana glows from Min Byung-gu's hand, the sign of an awakening. The staff are stunned, and all eyes turn suspiciously to Suho, who can only protest his innocence, bewildered by the extraordinary events that have unfolded. Min Byung-gu's sudden awakening as a C-class healer stirs excitement at the Hunter Association, especially since healers are rare and well regarded. At his age, Min Byung-gu is content to remain safe and use his new magical abilities to further his Stardust research rather than fighting in dungeons. Suho, having learned from Baru that Min Byung-gu's awakening came from a bestowed protection rather than a direct transfer of power, is slightly disappointed. He can't receive a healer skill in the same way, but the two move on. While Suho waits outside the testing room during the commotion, his heightened senses pick up a tense conversation between Min Byung-gu and a persistent representative from the Reaper Guild, Secretary Kim. The guild wants Min Byung-gu to join them and continue his Stardust research for their benefit. Secretary Kim tries to convince him that developing legal Stardust would make the world safer by empowering hunters. Min Byung-gu refuses, insisting his research is for the public good, not for private interest. Suho and Barrow quietly eavesdrop, realizing from their own knowledge that the Reaper Guild had dealings with the Hyena Guild and that Secretary Kim was their main point of contact. Sizing up Secretary Kim's strength, Suho notes he's likely B-class, making him a dangerous opponent. Secretary Kim, unable to persuade Min Byung-gu with promises, turns threatening. He reveals that the Reaper Guild knows about the recent incidents involving the Beast King Crow, and tries to twist the facts, claiming the demon at Magog Field has inherited the Beast King's power, and that humanity must strengthen itself by any means, including Stardust, to fight back. When Min Byung-gu still refuses, Secretary Kim drops all pretense, revealing he's kidnapped Min Byung-gu's wife and shows him a photo as proof, threatening her safety to force Min Byung-gu's cooperation. As Min Byung-gu reels from shock and fear, Secretary Kim is suddenly attacked from behind. Suho bursts through the door and lands a powerful, black, energy-filled punch using his strike skill, knocking Secretary Kim to the ground. Secretary Kim staggers in surprise, recognizing Suho's strength, and is further shocked to see him wearing the crow mask, mistaking him for a demon. Suho steps into the room, ready to confront Secretary Kim and protect Min Byung-gu.